Tony DeLuca. He was the biggest mob boss in New York City. Him and the DeLuca family run most of the town. Taking over the crime family in the 1980s, DeLuca turned the family into the biggest mob New York City had ever seen. He owned most of the bars and ran all the doors. He had nightclubs and casinos dotted all over New York City. He ran protection rackets for most of the businesses across Manhattan, Brooklyn and Queens. He really was king of the world, and he lived an amazing lifestyle. One of his many apartments was a luxury condo in downtown Manhattan, looking out onto the beautiful city of New York. He often thought to himself, I am untouchable. But nobody is untouchable, and once you are at the top of the pile, people want to take a piece of that pie, and there were plenty of people that wanted a slice. Now 10 years earlier, on his rise to power, he'd almost wiped out the Chinese triads, but they hadn't forgotten, and they hadn't gone anywhere. They just spent years planning and plotting their revenge. Not only that, the Russian mob wanted a slice of the action in New York too. They were slowly but surely edging their way into being a main player. Now Tony DeLuca might have been a big time gangster. He might have killed and ordered the deaths of many people, but there's one thing Tony DeLuca was, and that was loyal. Loyal to his wife of 20 years. But after 20 years, they'd not been able to have a child naturally, and Tony wanted sons. He wanted sons to be able to pass the family business on to. So Tony and Francesca had to use a surrogate, and at the first attempt it was successful, and they had twin baby boys, Leonardo and Lorenzo. Tony DeLuca wasn't stupid, and he'd realised that maybe his time was up. The noose was tightening around his neck because the Chinese and the Russians had decided to team up and get rid of Tony DeLuca and his family once and for all. He was going to fight him to the death, but he needed his wife and his children to be safe. So he arranged with a business associate down at the docks in New York to stow his wife and twin baby boys on board and have them set sail for Naples in Italy to stay with his wife's cousins. But within a week, the Russians and the Chinese had finally got their way. Outside one of his many clubs, they shot Tony DeLuca dead. There was a police investigation into it, but of course, no one was ever charged or found guilty of Tony DeLuca's murder. But of course, the Russians and the Chinese, they weren't finished with Tony DeLuca. They wanted to take control of New York City, but they wanted to make sure no one could come back one day and claim it. They wanted Tony DeLuca's wife dead, and they wanted his baby boys dead too. Now when Tony's wife arrived in Naples, she instantly didn't feel safe. Word on the street around all their connections was the Russians and the Chinese were coming for her and her boys. So she bid farewell to her cousins and her family in Naples, borrowed one of the Ferraris and decided to do something drastic. She headed straight out of Naples, north to the capital city, Rome, where their family had no connections. And as the sun was setting over Rome, this mother knew she was probably never going to see her baby boys again. She was praying that she would, but she knew. She dropped Leonardo off at an orphanage on the east side of Rome, and then she travelled west and dropped Lorenzo at a local nunnery. But as she was heading back down to Naples, the Russians and the Chinese finally caught up with her and petrol bombed her car, killing her and burning her alive. And Leonardo and Lorenzo were left as orphans. No one knew where they were. The family could never find them. They would be lost forever. So the two boys grew up separately in the same city. Leonardo in the orphanage spent his entire life there. It was a tough life. He had nothing. He had no knowledge of his brother or his father or his mother or his rich mafia history. He was just a poor boy in an orphanage with nothing. Lorenzo, on the other hand, he'd grown up in the nunnery, but luckily for Lorenzo, a rich local family, the Lambrettas, they'd taken him in and adopted him as their own. So he got to live a very privileged life. Still, with no knowledge of his history, no knowledge of who he truly was, and no knowledge he had a twin brother. But both these boys had grown up feeling like half a person, feeling like they had not just an arm missing, but an entire half of each other's body. hopefully one day they might find each other. Now luckily for the boys, a few years later, the two Russian mafia men that had killed their mother and had stayed in Italy to try and find them have been caught doing different illegal activities and have both been sentenced to 30 years each in prison. Hopefully the De Luca twins would be safe. Now if there's one thing these two boys did have in common, it was a love of football. But a love of football in very, very different ways. Now Leonardo De Luca had grown up in the orphanage and at 16 was playing for the orphanage football team, and he was a diehard fan of LAZIO. His favourite player growing up had been Simone Inzaghi, who was now the manager. And luckily for him, LAZIO had sent some scouts down to a game, loved what they'd seen, sent some tapes to Simeone, and he told them to sign him up straight away. The young 16-year-old was going to be living his dream. He was free of the orphanage and had a chance of making something special out of his life and playing for his beloved LAZIO. On the other side of the city, Lorenzo, who had lived a very nice life after being adopted by the Lambrettas, he was playing with his local team, but his stepfather, being the man he was, had many connections with the young boy's beloved Roma. He was friends with Totti, who at the time was a director of football at Roma. He showed Totti some of the tapes of his boy, and Totti couldn't believe how good this kid was. He signed him up. This 16-year-old was going to be playing for his beloved club, Roma, the arch-rival of LAZIO. Two brothers, opposite sides of the city, playing for arch-rivals who still didn't know each other existed. So will these boys fulfill their footballing dreams and make it as professional footballers? But more importantly, will these two boys ever find each other playing for cross-town rivals, playing for their beloved teams? Will anyone realise that these boys are twins? Will anyone ever realise that these boys are the De Luca twins? Well, we were going to find out in the story of the Goodfellas. Hello, I'm Bood FM and welcome to the channel. If you're brand new, thanks for checking out this video. Hopefully by the end of it, you'll become a subscriber. If you're already one of my subscribers, as always, thanks for watching another one of my videos. Why are you all here together? Why not help support me, the video, my series, my channel and everything by smashing that like button. If you really want to help support me, you can place on my Patreon. You'll find a link to that down below. Now this is just another one of my little stories involving Football Manager, and we're obviously going to be following the story of twin brothers, the De Lucas, or the Goodfellas, as they, embark on footballing careers and, maybe find each other. They don't know each other exists, so we're going to find out if they ever cross paths. Did they ever play on the same team, even though they're starting out at rivals? Can they do anything together for Italy? That would be pretty special. We're just going to see where Football Manager takes these two young lads. So, without further ado, let's get into it. We're going to start the story here by looking at Leonardo De Luca. He is playing for his beloved LAZIO. He's a right winger. He's left-footed, but his right foot's still pretty tidy. 17 years old. Now, he had a bit of a tough upbringing. He was brought up a LAZIO fan, him and his mates at the orphanage. But he's angry with his life. He was angry that he had to grow up in an orphanage. So he's got a few anger issues. But he's a great leader. He's already leading the lads at the orphanage. He's fit, got great off the ball skills. So his mentals are decent, to be fair. His physicals need some work. He's got a bit of pace, but not really got much strength yet. But he's a young lad, and his technicals hopefully should improve. And yeah, will he make it at LAZIO? How long will he stay at LAZIO? It'd be cool if one of the brothers does a bit of a Totti and has a full career at their club. Over to Lorenzo De Luca, who of course plays for Roma. Now he was dropped off at the nunnery and was luckily picked up by a very wealthy family. So he, doesn't really remember his youth. He is, he had quite a privileged life, but like his brother, he's naturally gifted. He is a left winger. He is left-footed. I mean, the brothers are similar. They're twins, identical twins, but they have got a few differences because of their upbringing, and I just thought it'd be cool if they've got similarities, but they do play in different positions mainly. So hopefully they can play for Italy, or even on the same team. That's what I was hoping. But he's not aggressive. He's pretty chilled out. He's a decent leader, but nothing like his brother. He's never really had to be. Again, he's got same physicals as his brother, pretty much similar technicals as his brother, because they're basically the same person, aren't they? In a way. Over to Leonardo's main information page. Now, I have put on his favourite personnel is his brother, even though technically at this moment in time he doesn't even know who his brother is. But put that on, because that's what you do. So yeah, his agent's Terry Tibbs, like all my other characters this year. and all my patrons, every one of them's got Terry as their agent. He loves Lazio. He's iron-willed. I mean, you know, I'm hoping, because I've had it in the past with aggressive players, they don't progress as well as they could, but I'm hoping he's going to break that mould and do something special with Lazio. Over to his brother's page, and at first I'm going to show you they're born in Naples. Now, they weren't. Obviously, they were born in America, but they got snuck over, and when they got the fake papers, they put Naples on it. But technically, they're American, even though they don't know it. So they haven't even got it on the second nationality. But if they ever found that out, maybe they could get an American passport. But if they did find it out, maybe the mafia families would realise who they are and kill them. Dun dun dun. But yeah, he's a Roma supporter, obviously. Terry is his agent, and he's professional. So yeah, I can't wait. I like stuff like this. Obviously, they've got good potential, but not always going to reach it. An injury might stop it. Something might stop it. A bad manager might not play. So I don't know. We'll have to find out what happens to the boys. Well, we've jumped forward 10 years. It is now 2029, and we're going to start here with Leonardo De Luca, who has turned into an absolute beast of a right winger. He's still a leader. He is elite, and he is pretty special. Looks like he played quite a lot for Lazio. Left in 2023, and he's been here at Paris Saint-Germain for 6 years, and he's done pretty well. Let's see how well. Well, firstly, after quite a few good years, his first year was quiet in Lazio, but then he spent 3 seasons bossing it in Serie A before making a £105 million move to Paris Saint-Germain. Bloody hell. Now, when it came to competitions, especially for Lazio, I found it quite interesting because he won a Super Cup, which is great. Debuted for Italy while he was playing at Lazio. But he got to 3 consecutive Coppa Italias, losing, and then finally winning. So he won something big, I think, for his club before he left. But then we all know what Paris are like on this game, especially in France. You're going to go there, you're going to win a lot of trophies. But he did actually win something pretty special. In 2025, he won the Champions League. He's won the Champions League again. Wow. I mean, Paris Saint-Germain always do well. Oh, he's won another Champions League. Blimey. Yeah, he's going to win everything in France. He's just going to have 1 million medals in it. Information-wise, he's still obviously the favoured person out of his brother, but I have to work out, have they ever crossed paths? Surely they did in Serie A in Derby Day. We'll have to wait and see. Now, Simeone Inzaghi, his former manager, is his favourite personnel. How cool would that be for him? He grew up idolising Simeone. But yeah, I'm happy with that. I'm happy with that. Let's have a look at his brother though, and we'll have a look at Italy and see if they've ever crossed paths. Well, here we are, and oh yeah. So if it's not Paris Saint-Germain, it's usually someone like a City, and they've bought the other brother from Roma, who has again turned into a great player, a little bit different than his brother, but very special. I imagine in Italy right now, I've got the 2 best wingers in the world, haven't they? The De Luca brothers. Although, do they know that they're brothers? They had a bit of a different career. He got farmed out on loan for a season and did very well, and then came back and spent 4 years at Roma. So he stayed in Italy a lot longer than his brother, and then made a similar kind of valued move. But he's gone to the Premier League. I don't think he's going to end up winning it. I mean, he's going to win trophies with City, but Paris Saint-Germain dominate France, don't they? So his brother's going to win a lot more medals than him. But he did win Serie A. That is sweet. I'm well chuffed with that. World Cup runner-up. I might have missed that with his brother, unless his brother didn't play in it. But it was a World Cup runner-upper, if that's even a word. Coppa Italia runner-upper. I need to stop saying runner-upper. Runner-up with Italy in the football. Wow. Got to the 2 big ones and lost them both. Gutted. Won a Super Cup, lost the Coppa Italia, and then won Serie A. So both brothers have won a big trophy in Italy. That's cool. And when it comes to being at City, like I said, he's going to win stuff. He's won it all, maybe. I won an FA Cup, no. But he's won a Carabao Cup, he's won a Champions League, he won a Premier League, and won a Nations League with Italy. So that's quite sweet. I'm happy with that. If we look at Italy, the 2 brothers are the 2 best players, and they are the 3rd best team in the world. So, do they know each other? Well, of course they know each other, because once they started playing for Italy, they start doing drug tests, and they do all the tests on it. A very clever scientist put 2 and 2 together and realised that these 2 got exactly the same DNA. They look pretty much identical. They're pretty much the same player on the pitch. They're freaking twin brothers. So, they know they're brothers. Do the Mafia know? I don't know. We'll never know. Maybe one of them is going to get killed. I don't know. We'll have to find out at the end of the video. And one of the brothers, Mr. Leonardo De Luca, has won two Ballon d'Ors. He won his first in 2024. Haaland won one. He came second. His brother came third. That's pretty cool. Then he won another one. Haaland came second. Then Arthur King won one. Got to know who Arthur King is. If you've not seen Arthur King, the video, go back, check it out. And Haaland, after being runner-up again a few times, he's won his second. Arthur was third. Look at Arthur, handsome chap. And Leonardo there. So his brother. Which one? Where was his brother second? Was it that one or that third one? Come on, Lorenzo. Come on. You can do it. Put your back into it. Well, we've jumped forward to 2038 and I've stopped on this year because Leonardo De Luca has just retired and he did something pretty special. Some things actually are pretty special on this game. Things I've wanted to happen before have never happened. Have happened twice, which I find weird. I'll explain it in a second. But again, I didn't do anything for him to be anything. I couldn't be bothered because I never take it on after their players when I've done this before. But he wants to be a manager. And he's already started out with pretty good managerial stats. He's got the framework here to actually become a manager, which is pretty cool. But what's even cooler is 36-year-old came home. Now, he left Paris Saint-Germain on a free when his contract finished and he went to Inter Milan. So he came back to Italy anyway. Had a first okay season, played a bit more than next season, still was pretty productive. And then signed for Lazio when he was, what, 35, 36? 35. For 8.75 million. He's had a year with them and then called it quits. So it's a lot of money really for his age. I find that crazy. Maybe Lazio thought they were getting a bit more out of him, maybe an extra year or two. But the fact he's gone home, and I've always wanted that, a player like this to go home. So of course with Paris Saint-Germain he kept on winning. Winning. Did he ever lose anything? Winning. Earlier, no. His very first Trophée des Champions, he lost. Won everything else. Jornsville. Then obviously he went to Inter Milan, didn't he? Won the Serie A. So he's a Lazio one. His brother won the Serie A with Roma, didn't he? So he won the cup with Lazio in his first stint in Italy. He's come back to Italy, won the Serie A with Inter. That's cool. Well happy with that. Love a little cherry on the cake. Then he went to Lazio. Oh, no wonder he retired. So he won the Super Cup, fair enough. But he won the Europa League, which is a special trophy. I bet to lift the European trophy with his beloved Lazio. He kissed that trophy for. There's no word from here now. This is it. We ain't topping this. And that's why he retired, isn't it? But it gets better. It gets better because, and I'm quite sad about this in a way. So obviously last year he signed for Lazio, played a season, he's just retired this summer. But his brother's just made a move this summer, which almost gave me an erection. His brother's come home. His brother has just signed for Roma. How cool's that? Now he had a great career at City. We'll have a look at what he achieved. But his last few years were a bit, he was never really a 30-odd game a season kind of player. So, you know, they must have had some players for him to be more of a squad player, in my opinion. Unless he, you know, he maybe struggled with injuries. Went to Zenit in Russia on a free. Had a couple of years in Russia. Now, I didn't have the Russian league on. So even if he won league titles, we won't know really. And he's just signed for Roma now. So, I mean, he's the same age as his brother. His brother's decided to retire and he decided to go home. So it'd be interesting to see if his career lasts even longer on the pitch. So obviously with City, he won lots of trophies. I don't know if he ever won an FA Cup though. Don't think he did, but he won more Champions Leagues, Premier Leagues, all that good stuff. Like I said, with Zenit, the league's not running. You could probably go and look at the club and the history of the league and guess if he's won a league title. Yeah, he definitely did. I mean, if he's just left them, he's just won the league. And he would have been there then, wouldn't he? So he's definitely won a couple of league titles. So that's alright. He's back at Roma. And he still looks good. Physical's dropped off, but he's still some kind of player. And wants to win a trophy and he's excited of the team's chances in the Coppa Italia. Oh man, if you can go out like your brother. He's got his coaching licence as well. He's got a C. If he can go out like his brother, doing something special, that'll just be too good. One thing they did do together was win the World Cup in 2030. There's Lorenzo's winning medal at the top there. And there's his brothers, so that's pretty special. 8 years ago, but they would have known they were brothers by then. Winning the World Cup together. That is cool. Makes up from losing it, doesn't it, in 2026. So they just got better and better and better. So it's now 2041, and we're going to start here with Leonardo De Luca, because he's the one who wanted to be a manager. Looked like he could be with his stats, and he became one quite quickly. He got a job that year with Venezia, I think it is. Serie B team. He's now at another Serie B team. Don't know if he got the sack, but it looks like he's doing all right for himself, carving out a career as a manager. Likes to play tiki-taka. Maybe he's the new Italian version of Pep. He didn't get the sack. He didn't do anything with him, but he's obviously done enough to go to another team. But he's in the same division. But fair play to him. He's working his way up that ladder. But his brother, don't forget, didn't retire. He signed for his boyhood club, Roma. So did he do anything? How long did he carry on playing for? Well, weirdness. Weird. So it looks like he played for Roma for 1 year. Then when he retired in 2039, he became Arsenal under-18s manager. Now he's nothing like his brother there, is he? Jesus, his stats are shocking. Got the Swansea job, and I think he's just been sacked. I'm not surprised because he's not very good. So he did only play one season, managed 16 games, 3 goals, 2 assists, 2 man of the matches. But did he win anything with Roma? Piss off. I love it. So he signed and got named captain, Mr. Old Man himself. And he did exactly... That is stupid. I love it. Won a Europa League the year after his brother did and thought, same as our kid, I'm out of here. I am out of here. Got named in the seasonal best 11 and retired. Wow. I mean, you can't write this shit. Lazio beat freaking hell Juve in their final. Roma beat Dortmund. Can't write it. I'll go back first. Win it. You go back next year. Win it. Love it. Now, he hasn't been sacked. He's actually just won the Sky Bet Championship. I don't get it. And he's resigned. Why? But anyway, this is Lorenzo De Luca's biography. You want to pause it and have a look at his career as a whole. I think it was pretty special. And they both managed to win league titles in Italy. They both did really well when they were at the prime at 2 big teams, lots of money. Both came home. They both retired by winning a Europa League, which is insane. They've both become managers, even though they're very different. They both had pretty good careers. And this is Leonardo, who, you know, probably got more medals in his cabinet, but that's because he was playing in France, where they win everything. But they've both done well, winning World Cups and that. And he looks like a great manager. Don't get what his brother's done, resigning. But, you know, he was over in England with stats like that, where he's got stats like he's got, and he's bloody Serie B. He'll definitely move on, I think, and become a big-time manager at a big-time club at some point. Well, there we go. That is the end of the Goodfellas. Hopefully you enjoyed it enough to smash the like button and even subscribe if you're new. If you are new, go and check out the other videos. Old, stick around for my new stuff as well. Plenty coming. But thank you for taking time out of your busy day, all of you, just to sit here and watch it. It's just a bit of fun, a bit of a story mixed up with a bit of Football Manager. Down below in the description you'll find the updated Bootyverse with all the story characters together, and there'll be a graphics pack down there. I might put a few save files out there as well if you want to have a go yourself with these guys, play a little bit. But yeah, thank you. Like I said, it's just a bit of fun. Don't take any of these too seriously, but I just appreciate you watching it. I hope you're all happy. I hope you're all safe, because the world's a bit doomy and gloomy with the coronavirus at the minute. So hopefully you and your family are okay, and hopefully I'll give you a little bit of escapism. So yeah, I'm Bood. I'll see you next time.